I am so excited today to be talking with Stephanie Scheller. She is the owner of Grow Disrupt marketing firm. And I had the absolute honor of facilitating a game session with her whole team a couple of months ago. But then the aftermath has been even more successful. And I'm really excited to hear your perspective, Stephanie, on what's happened since.
We also have this really weird dynamic where we're a virtual team spread across the globe. So we have all sorts of different time zones. But some of us get together in person to work the live events. So then you have like this little like cluster that happens of like these people like know each other really well and these people feel like they're on the fringes. And I really didn't want that. And so that was kind of my hope with the game session. And then it turns into this thing where all of a sudden, a few months later, one of my employees comes to me and goes, "Hey, so I was thinking about how fun it was and how cool it was to realize I really liked seeing how we all kind of got this different perspective of how to interact and whose strengths and weaknesses are. So I started creating like a tabletop game for us." And like my first reaction was like, "What? What?" like, um, and then I mean, I'll let you ask, but it's been so cool to see this whole tabletop game that I did not think was actually going to go anywhere just turn into something that when we go to the game sessions and our team meetings, all of a sudden everyone goes from, yeah, to like, yeah, all right. So it's really been fun to watch.
Something that I noticed during the session, which is there are a couple of people on your team who English is not their first language. And
Yeah.
that's always that can always be a challenge, especially when you're communicating asynchronously, with just writing. And
Mhm.
it's always a little bit of a challenge for me as a facilitator to, play is universal, but the instructions to games, are not. And sometimes people who English is not their first language or maybe are neurodivergent, um, they just need to have things explained a different way. And so I was a little bit, I hope this works for everybody. And some people at first were a little bit shy, but by halfway through the session, I was so amazed with how into it everybody was. People were
Yeah.
being so creative and being funny and responding so tuned into each other. I mean, like you just mentioned, they were all, really, you could tell that they're really engaged. You could feel the energy even through the screen. For me, it's always amazing to see, like, I know it's going to happen, but I still get so excited to see it when that power of play catches a team and they realize, okay, not only are we having this fun shared moment together, but we're really learning interesting things about each other. I'm learning that,
Yeah.
Stephanie really needs to hear very specific, detailed instructions before she's willing to go into something, whereas maybe Alex just wants to figure it out as we go along. And that's a dynamic that's really going to come up in the workplace. And a million little things like that, which I'm sure was what you were getting the secret messages in the background for.
Like, I had tried to play a game that I learned from y'all, Fishbowl, with the team, and, accidentally put all of the ESL people on one team and all of the, English as a first language people, and, did not even think that through, and it was like this, like, aha moment of realizing that, like, one, it because it's something we do so intuitively, it seems like it should be really intuitive and easy inside of a work culture too, and I will say the other thing you mentioned, like, that people showed up and, like, they were nervous, but they showed up, and I'm really grateful that my team, like, gives me that much trust to show up even when stuff is like, "We're doing this crazy thing," and they're like, "Okay." But then they did get into it because it was easy to get into, especially if you do keep in mind, like, the various pieces, like, you did a great job doing, so, yeah, it was kind of funny because it was a very different experience from when, Stephanie tried to run a game with them versus when Alex ran a game.
So it makes me so happy to hear that not only is your team now fully embracing play, but that you've invented your own game that's become
Yeah.
a real focal point of your culture. Can you tell me a little bit more about that game?
So when she came to me with these really cool character cards she created for each of the people where, like, they were built on us. So she came up with fun names for everyone, and then she used AI to take a picture of one of our pictures, but turn it into, like, a cartoon that looks like us, but a little bit different, and then gave us, like, traits and, different races. And then one of the things that she did that I thought was really clever was she gave each of our characters a character trait that's, like, the opposite of who we tend to be. So, like, my character, questions everything and, like, asks a million questions before making a decision, which has been really funny because as I go to play this game, I'm, like, having to sit there and be like, I wanna take my turn and be like, "We do this." And I'm like, so I ask these 4 questions first to learn where like, and it's been really fun to see everyone struggle with having to put themselves in a headspace they're not normally in. Um, but what it's doing is I think exactly what Susanna was probably hoping it would do is giving everyone a appreciation for other people's style, because as you're having to, like, be like, "Okay, I have to be my character and, like, ask a million questions," now I'm starting to be like, "Oh, wait, I have some team members who ask a lot of questions. Okay, alright." This is just a different headspace they're in. So that's been really, really fun, and so Susanna basically plays as our game master, and she'll come up with scenarios and throw it at us and be like, "So you're on a submarine, there's a hole in the wall, the alarm is blaring, what do you do?" Right? And but it's been really fun, and it's been fun to see everyone else going through the same thing of, like, they'll approach their turn their normal way, and then Susanna has been really good about, like, helping redirect people into their characters. And so then now they're having to go, "Oh, wait, okay, I gotta think this one through." So it's been I mean, that has been really cool to see. I think it's created a level of understanding that we kind of had. We've done disc training and TTI training and all sorts of stuff, but this has just helped it sink in differently.
It's practicing empathy and not just empathy of like, "Oh, I understand how other people feel," but going 2 steps beyond that, and if I know this is how other people think and this is how they feel and act in specific situations, what can I do to make them feel more comfortable or more empowered or more likely to succeed? And that's gonna lead to better outcomes for the work that you're doing. So it's a benefit for everybody. It's a net positive by many degrees. And but it's sort of practice. It's sort of one thing to say, okay, we did this disc assessment, and I know that this person is a C and this person is an I. But
Mhm.
what do you do with that information? And when you're playing, you're actually operationalizing it. You're adapting your own thinking and behavior and communication based on that understanding that you have.
From the business owner's perspective, it has been really nice to see them leaning on each other more than on me. Like, one of the challenges that we were trying to help address when you came in to do the game session was that, like, every question came to Stephanie. Like, every Stephanie was getting pulled and spending probably 2 hours a day just answering people's questions about their jobs that, like, I hire really competent people. They know how to do their jobs. Or there's other people on the team they could ask for help with that. And so I was really hoping to get people starting to lean on each other more and coming to Stephanie less. And it's been really fun to see, like, as they're playing these games and building this level of understanding and connection that we really don't get in just like a day to day, interaction. Um, my level of involvement has drastically dropped, and I'm able to go do the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, the strategic business owner stuff, which has just been very, very like, it's the space I want to be in, and, so that's also been just fascinating to watch, like, for me,
Yeah.
of feeling free.
A really excellent point that I think is worth highlighting. You you hire a bunch of people or, maybe auto hire, but you're, putting a different combination of people together to work on a project or something. And they're all smart, they're all very competent, but that doesn't make them a team. That makes them separate ingredients
Yeah.
that haven't necessarily formed something different altogether. And for that interdependence that you described of people knowing that they can be like, "Hey, can I bounce ideas off you even though they might start out being really rough ideas?" Or, "Can I ask you a question and know that you're not gonna think I'm stupid for not knowing the answer already?" Like, those are
Yeah.
real things that we all think about all the time. And
Yep.
you have to get to know people and build up that comfort level. And so I don't think beforehand it was that people were not competent. They just didn't know that the culture was there and that, they would get the support that they were looking for from other people. So
Yeah.
playing that game together and having that shared experience where everybody's learning it at the same time. Everybody has to be vulnerable to the same extent because there's inherent vulnerability in play. That builds those reinforcements of those connections so that instead of just a group of individuals, it really is a team because they know how to lean on each other. And that's going to benefit them. That benefits you. You have all this time back. And now you have even more confidence in your team. And of course, that's going to benefit the bottom line of the company.
I love what you just said because I feel like it hit on something I don't even know if I'd recognized until right now, which is it created this safe space to be vulnerable. And so they could get help with things that they maybe wouldn't have thought to ask for help. Like inside of work, it can feel very, inside of a professional setting, it can feel very intimidating to be vulnerable. Um, but by having this be a game that we were all learning and I think it's created this space where it's like, hey, it's safe to be vulnerable over here. And so now it feels a lot safer to be vulnerable over here because I was able to be vulnerable in the game and nothing happened. And I haven't connected those dots before, but that's awesome. I love that realization.
In the way that we've designed our methodology and the way we facilitate play, it's purposely creating a simulation of specific dynamics that come up in the workplace. And in this case, it was how do you be vulnerable with people you haven't been vulnerable? And that doesn't mean like bearing your soul. That just means feeling like you can ask a question and no one's gonna tell you're stupid. Or you can, put a very, rough draft idea out there and know that people are just gonna build on it and yes and it. And,
Yeah.
eventually you'll get to something that you've all created that's really brilliant, but you have to start somewhere. And those things, they seem so simple, but they're necessary first steps that if you don't take that first step, you don't get to that deeper level. And it's like training wheels for the type of vulnerability that's needed at work.
I'm already seeing people doing more brainstorming, doing more support with each other. I am already seeing we have been able to streamline our Monday morning meetings and turn them into brainstorming sessions. And so I'm like, I'm excited to see where this is going to go for like our clients, but also for us with being able to put all those brains in that higher level performance, and a safe, trusted so I'm like, I think this is I'm super grateful for you coming in and doing the game session because I had no clue it would lead here.
It's really amazing and validating to hear that not only was the session itself a success, but the positive ripple effects from it went in directions that we didn't even expect and
Yeah.
continue to expand. So that's great.
Yeah, I would say if anyone is, listening in and, like, been curious about it, if you are either a manager running a team or a small business owner like me, like, I definitely think this is, 100%, like, this is such a different approach to things, and I will tell everyone to go do the same thing because I think it opens doors. I don't even think you can communicate everything, all the doors that it opens, like, it's been really cool. It's been a very fun few months.
So one final question is what would you say to people, and this I think is the majority of people who would say work is serious, play is frivolous. We don't have time to play.
Work is creative. Problem solving is creative. Growth is creative. Efficiency is we are more efficient when we're relaxed. I don't talk about this very often, but I'm a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, and one of the lessons we had to learn to get that black belt was that you move faster when you're relaxed. Like you are able to strike faster, kick faster, hit faster when you're relaxed. As long as you're tense, you're not going to be able to. And same thing applies in business. Your team is able to move faster when they're having fun, when they're relaxed, which means you're able to be more productive, which means you are able to unleash a level of creativity and results you do not release otherwise. So I think this idea that work is serious um, comes from a place of fear that they're not able to be fun anymore. And I think it's just important to remember that like fun is a muscle, like, play is a muscle. We've not used it often enough, and we just have to get better at it, but, yeah, if work is serious, then I'm done. I don't want serious work, I wanna have fun. Even if we do serious stuff and make serious impact, like, that's different. I wanna have fun on the way. That's what I'd say.
Couldn't have said it any better myself.